All right, so we wanted to look at two things. We wanted to know what a Cuban hook looked like. So if I was to throw a Cuban hook, say I'm moving towards his cross, I want to keep my elbow covering that line of attack and I can immobilize this. This is just a way of setting it up. But what a Cuban hook is if I'm moving this way and I can't quite get that angle, I will keep my elbow in and hit with the front side of my hand. That's a Cuban hook, the inside of the hand. Or if he's coming in for a shot, I can throw a Cuban uppercut right here, which is again the front side of the hand. And if you're wearing a glove, that part has zero padding. You're gonna fuck a dude up. So that's why, obviously, why it's illegal in boxing. Back fists are also illegal in boxing. Spinning shit you can't do in boxing. It's the front of the knuckles, the white part of a competition glove. So Cuban hooks and uppercuts, and maybe even overhand, aren't allowed in competition. And then a canuck hook and uppercut. Let's look at something real quick. Let me just grab a pad and say, for example, if I wanted to do a demonstration in front of a group and my hands were sore or they're not wrapped, if I throw a hook like this, it's not so bad on a focus mitt, but if it was a heavy tie pad and I'm throwing the normal hook, okay, and when I throw a hook, I like to usually keep my thumb up. But sometimes if the guy's a little farther away, my arm lengthens. So I don't want my wrist at that funny angle like this. If I'm over here, I'm okay. But if I'm here relative to his face, I lose that angle. So what I'll do instead is I'll turn my hand over and I'll throw my canuck hook like this. Angle, right? Yes. That does not hurt your wrist at all. Okay, so particularly for MMA gloves, there's not a lot of support in your hand.
So when it's turned over, that doesn't matter, you're close or far?
This doesn't hurt me at all. And it's
close?
the same with that uppercut. Yeah, oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, close and far. Yeah. And uppercuts too. Yeah. So that does not hurt my wrist. This,
will.
There's potential.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the canuck hook. That's what we've been calling it anyways. Haven't really seen it in too many places because it's not taught for reasons, I think, more tradition than function. I think it works really well. So use your canuck hook if you need it, and it's there for, you know, street fighting application. You're not going to hurt your hand as easily. You're not going to hurt your wrist as easily, and obviously you got to hit the right parts of the target to keep that in mind. So
if you throw that, could you like pop it like for a jab?
A corkscrew jab, yeah. Now we're going to go even a little farther. So a lot of guys, when they have their guard up, so if you have somebody whose guard is up and you want to keep the power, a lot of guys like to throw a vertical fist through that guard, but if you want more power and more rotational momentum in that same amount of space, you're going to corkscrew your punch, okay? Tyson was always told to corkscrew his punches. Screw your punches in. That's what his coach would say. So when you're in this range and you add some of that rotational momentum in that small amount of space, you can split his guard by corkscrewing that punch. And actually, I think it's a way more powerful punch, turning that right over. So
that goes for both ends then?
Yes, yeah. So that straight line attack, that's not really a canuck punch, but I guess we could almost fit it into that category because it is turning right over.
Yep.
So that's an excellent question. But I love splitting the guard that way. Right there, just like that, splitting their guard, especially when they have big gloves. It's harder to get through that crack, so that's one of the ones that fits through that line easily. With MMA gloves, you don't have to worry so much about that because their gloves don't cover as much of the gap as they do with the bigger gloves, but it works in both applications. It just works particularly well with the bigger gloves because you can get in between there. So